Good day traders, welcome to the RMDTRADER Weekly Market Fix. My name is John Jacobs, and as with last week's video, we will continue to evaluate the unfolding chaos to see what we expect and how we can still benefit in these volatile conditions. For those following our videos, I'm sure you would have been well prepared for what we are currently seeing in the crypto arena. So let's have a closer look. Starting by having a look at what transpired in Bitcoin over the past week. So after we had that final tag of the daily 100 SMA, we had a retracement setting price for a final test of the daily 21 EMA, which we've mentioned over the past week and 2 weeks actually to be a very good indicator of the current Bitcoin trend. And as we've mentioned last week also, the trend has been down for quite some time now, and from that price rejection we can see how price started selling off heading into this area of our yearly R2 and yearly 365 SMA. We saw some retracement from this area, price currently trading just below 50,000. I'm not convinced that we have seen the end of this sell-off. Typically when we do see these big shadows, they do tend to be retested once again. So be very careful when you are trading Bitcoin, as I do suspect that we could see more downside. And I'm not necessarily saying we will dip below the lows from last week, but I'm pretty sure there's a good chance that we'll still see another move to test this area, especially this yearly 365 moving average and our yearly R2. If we do see a break lower, there is still support, major support at our yearly R1, which is sitting at 37,000. In terms of resistance, if we do see a retracement, I'm suspecting that we will see this daily 100 SMA now turn into resistance, and that would be in the vicinity of about 55,000 for this week. Having a look at XRP, we will see a similar picture where we have, of course, from 2 weeks ago, we see how it price dipped below that symmetrical triangle, retested the breakout, and which is also our yearly R2 pivot. So tagged that area exactly and started selling off, trading below the daily 200 SMA, finding some support all the way down at our yearly R1, and that was just below 60 cents. Found some support from there and headed back higher towards this area we are currently trading. Also, as with Bitcoin, I do expect we will probably see a little bit more downside for a retest of this yearly R1. So do keep an eye out for that. Working our way on to commodities, we have previously set up this gold long bullish trade. We actually did come right into that area where we had our stop loss, so I think within 1 point, but that's not really the point I'm trying to make. I'm still bullish. It does appear that we are seeing this area of diagonal as well as horizontal support to be holding, and if we can get back above, I'd say 1790, there would be a good chance that we'll start seeing that recovery back towards these levels at 1850 and all the way towards the December R1 monthly pivot at 1850. Working our way back, we will have a look also at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, we've previously pointed out this head and shoulders pattern. Actually, even before we had the right shoulder, we mentioned that we will probably see a right shoulder, which we then did, and we then saw that sell off, triggering the head and shoulder with a brief retest of the breakout area, and currently price trading right above the daily 50 SMA. I think we will probably still see continued moves lower towards the head and shoulders target, and if we do project that target, let's just quickly see where that will take us. So if we do project that lower, we see it takes us all the way towards the monthly S2 pivot at 15,270. So it's possible that we see a retest of the weekly pivot, which would be acting as resistance. That's at 15,900, and from there perhaps then that move lower, continuing onto the head and shoulders target at that 15,270 level. Looking at currencies, let's just start from the top. The EURUSD, and the EURUSD is still in a very strong bearish trend. We actually now reached a full target last week for that double top, and the way we measure that is from the average of those two tops. So that would be about there. towards the bottom end of the neckline, and then we just project that down from the neckline, and that will actually take you right into this area where we are currently seeing a possible reversal and some support. It does not mean we will all of a sudden start seeing a bullish trend emerge, but rather that we could see price pulling back slightly deeper towards this area, which would now be support at our daily 50 SMA, which we haven't tested in quite some time. That's sitting somewhere between 1.145 and 1.151. Looking at the GBPUSD, there was also a short setup that we've had active for quite some time, and that finally reached the full target last week. And for this week, there's a chance that we'll probably still see some continued downside as we look at this head and shoulders formation that has a full target only over here at 1.288. That's also where we have our monthly S2 pivot. And before we see that happening, I suspect we will still see a few impulse and correction waves, so that could take us a bit lower towards this weekly S1, perhaps back towards the weekly pivot, and then continue lower. So do expect that wave motions as we make up our way lower. Looking at the EURGBP, we also had a long setup on this one as we approached the end of this market phase 5, where we were expecting a bottom, and we did see the reversal from that diagonal area, and that is very close to our target area, which was actually this daily 200 SMA. And as you know, with this market phase trade evaluation method that we do use and which we have developed, a break above the daily 200 SMA will initiate a new market phase 1 for a bullish trend. So if we do see that, that could then start taking us higher. Initial resistance at 0.861, perhaps even there at 0.863. And then we can see we'll probably expect a pullback, and then again a move higher. In terms of support for this week, we have our monthly pivot at 0.8496, so let's just say 0.850, and that would be now support for this week. And also looking at the daily 21 EMA, that will also act as some dynamic support as we probably start making higher highs and higher lows. Looking at the GBPNZD, this one likely also presenting us with a possible short opportunity still. We are trading above the daily 100 as well as above the daily 200 SMAs, but we haven't taken out those previous highs, so I am still expecting a lower high. So that would mean we should be looking at a price reversal in this area. If not, of course, we do know where we should be placing our stop losses. We could actually perhaps consider something slightly more lenient in the vicinity of 1.972 rather. And you can see we have our targets firstly at the monthly pivot and our daily 50 SMA 1.931, and a full target very close to the previous lows at about 1.897. Looking at the AUDUSD, the AUDUSD is one of our trades which unfortunately previously did not work out. I think that was actually the trade setup. So we can see that we did not get support from that diagonal, and rather it broke below the diagonal, sending price towards making new structural lows. We are in an area of previous major support, so also a good chance that we will see price reversing from this area somewhere. I'll be considering a possible long setup depending on how price action turns out this week, but if we do see price action reversing and retesting that breakout level at 0.723, that would present us actually with another very good short setup. And just to explain to you how that would look, let's just copy that quickly and move that towards there. So if we do see price move into this pivot area and previous area of support, which would now be resistance, that will then present us with a very nice new short opportunity. But we'll keep our eyes open for that move. Looking at the GBPCAD, it's one of the new ones we've added to the watch list. We are still in a market phase 3 in this bearish trend. We are right up against previous support, which is now resistance, as we can see from previous price action. So I'm expecting a reversal from this area, and a break below this diagonal will see new structural lows, more than likely, with very nice targets, firstly at 1.1676, and even perhaps later in the month or early next year at 1.654. But let's see how that develops. Looking at the CHFJPY, that's also a new one we've added along with the GBPCAD. This one also possibly presenting us with a good opportunity to get long. We are still in a bullish trend. We are back on support, which was previous resistance, now turning into support. Also that daily 50 SMA on this area. So if we can get price, I'd say back above that daily 21 EMA, and especially back above that monthly pivot at 123.6, that would get set in motion a very good new impulse move towards previous highs and new highs. So let's see how that works out. And finally, just have a look at the USDJPY. We had a long trade set up last week, and I believe, I can't remember if it didn't work out, but yeah, we are still waiting for some price action to show us that we have now reached an area of dynamic support. I'm actually going to put out a new trade setup similar to what you're currently seeing, with a stop loss right below the daily 100 SMA and a target all the way up at the monthly R2 at 116.7. That concludes our market fix for the week. If you find our videos helpful, please consider subscribing to let us know we are on the right track. And now for this week's pro trading tip. When looking at your list of active trades, it will inevitably contain a ratio of both winning and losing trades. So the trick is identifying and cutting the potential losers early and effectively boosting your overall risk to reward and gain to loss ratio. So until next time, we wish you all the best with your trading. Remember, trade smart and trade successful.